This isn't your ordinary 10-pin big ball bowling. This is New England's specialty, Candlepin Bowling. 60 feet, 10 pins, a 4.5-inch diameter, 3-pound ball, and the same goal of knocking down as many pins as you can. This is bowling on hard mode. Since its invention in the 1880s, this timeless sport has yet to lose its appeal, bringing people of all ages together.
I started bowling when I was, probably 5-6 years old, going with my parents to their couples league down in Malden, Massachusetts. So if I started when I was 6 years old, that puts it about 53 years I've been bowling now.
I remember when I first started bowling, I bowled on a 2-alley, set your own pin bowling alley. I have been bowling 65 years.
My dad had a job where he got out early, so every Wednesday after I get out of school, he'd bring me bowling to bowl so I could practice, so he could try to get better, and he'd incentivize it by paying me a nickel for every 10, a dime for every spare, a quarter for every strike. If I got over 100 game, I'd get $1. If I beat him, I got $2.
We used to go bowling in the winter time. Usually we went bowling on a Saturday. It was usually because we couldn't go skiing or anything else, we'd end up bowling. One of my friends, Charlie Anderson's father, had a bowling alley underneath the store, and it was open to us to use. And there'd usually be 4 of us friends, and we'd 2 guys would set pins and 2 guys would bowl. And then after 5 strings, we would swap. The people that were bowling would be setting pins, and then the people that had been setting pins would be bowling. I remember not wanting to go bowling at times because so many people smoked, and it was so hazy, and by the time I got home, my clothes smelled putrid.
In 1980, I joined the Air Force and was stationed up in Loring Air Force Base, Maine, in Limestone. So I could bowl candlepin downtown in Caribou or Presque Isle. I bowled 10-pin on the base. So bowling Mondays, 10-pin, candlepin on Wednesdays. It kind of was hard going back and forth. Sometimes I'd forget which foot to step with because it's got different steps. But I did eventually learn how to spot bowl. Spot bowl is when you pick up a spot on the lane and roll the ball over that, knowing where it's going to finish on down the lane. Once I learned how to spot bowl, my average improved 10 to 15 pins.
The ball went pretty much where I wanted it to go until I had an injury to my hand, and I could not hold on to the ball as well as I could before. I had reached an average of 106, and the ball was going very well, and I dropped down to a 94 average after that when I went back to bowling after my hand injury.
I've been at Bowlerama since I moved here in the year 2000. I came in just to practice one day, and the owner saw me and said, "Hey, we got a Wednesday night summer league. When you want to join?" I said, "Sure, I'll come in." So I joined the league that summer for the rest of the summer. When it came to the fall season, the owner said, "Hey, do you want to be on the Bowlerama bowling team?" And I've been on the owner's team ever since. So for 22 straight years, I bowl for the Bowlerama team. As one of the top bowlers at Bowlerama, the owner, Owen, would ask me to come in and help coach the youth bowlers. So that's how I started coming in here on a regular basis for the afternoons to help the youth bowlers. And eventually it got to the point where, do you want to get on the payroll? Here at the Bowlerama, we do have what's called the Bowlerama bus, and all kids around town know it. During the winter session, like February through April, we have our youth after-school program. The Bowlerama bus would go around to the schools in town, pick up the bowlers, and bring them back here to bowl, and then the parents would pick them up. We do that a couple of days a week. During the off season, he goes to during the summertime, he'll go to campgrounds and pick up a group of people and bring them in and then bus them back. Occasionally he'll go to the YMCA, and on rainy weather, he'll pick up a bunch of kids, bring them here, bowl, bring them back. So it's another offshoot of his business, and it's almost guaranteed to help out, because he's going to bring them here. He knows what they're going to do when they get here. They're going to bowl.
I started bowling in the league in 1970. I'd been out of the service, and we were married. I was building a house, and I started bowling in the league in the wintertime. Friends, some people that graduated from high school with me were on a team, and they decided to form a team and be in the league. They asked me to be in it. Anyway, I averaged 95 to 100 the first few years, and we won the trophy, the team trophy, probably 3 times in 10 years. There was always somebody on the team that had a higher average, but as years went by, I improved to 106 average. That was about as high as I ever got.
Usually when bowling with the family, wasn't so serious. There's a lot more going on. Everybody's trying to have some fun. League's a little bit more competitive, especially the men's league that we have here. It is our most competitive league, and being one of the top bowlers in the house, people want to try to beat you all the time. What made me look forward to bowling night? The competition, because I'm a fierce competitor when I'm bowling. I don't like to lose. So, I mean, if there's a point to be taken, I want to take that point.
We've gone family bowling. My children, my grandchildren all like to bowl, which makes it enjoyable. Of course, the reason it makes it enjoyable is that they're almost as competitive as I am. And of course, given my age, they have a tendency to beat me more often than they used to.
So my favorite bowling alley probably was, it's no longer in existence, but it was, I think it was Fairway in Natick. That's where when I was growing up, all the state tournaments were there. They had 30 plus lanes there, and it was always a full house because it was during the state tournaments. It was a real nice place.
The Elks Club in Presque Isle has been my favorite alley because they maintain it so well. I think it's because it's a private club, and they maintain it so well, and the machines hardly ever break down. The balls are smooth. They're not pock full of holes as they are in some places.
There's a couple of stories that go with the tournaments. I have won some tournaments. I have a couple of state titles from winning tournaments. I want to say that probably one of my favorite tournaments, because when I first grew up in Malden, my first adult league was with my dad. So he was my mentor. He taught me how to bowl. So I was in the men's league with him, but I'd never done a tournament with him. I joined the service. So eventually, when I came back here to Maine, growing up, they were having a tournament, which was a doubles tournament. It was called a Best Box tournament. My dad came up from Massachusetts, and we went up to Augusta and bowled, and that was the first tournament we ever bowled together. That was a great experience.
Yes, I remember bowling. There was this bowling alley in Madawaska, and I was bowling for the Legion team at the time, and they had favorites, a favorite town that was supposed to win, and it was a single elimination tournament, and I was bowling for Stockholm Legion. We were not favored. Most of the men that were on there, they were more prone to alcohol than they were to bowling. Anyway, at that time, I bowled a 169 to beat the favorite team, and that was a memorable experience.
Candlepin bowling is not a thriving sport. There's nobody making new machines. All the machines that are in the bowling alleys you see now are refurbished, taken from closed lanes, and people have to try to keep the maintenance up on them. The machines we have here at Bowlerama are well over 50, close to 60 years old. So, and there's the same exact machines that were installed when the place first opened.
The maintenance of the alleys has been a big change because they've gone from sweeping them with a broom when they felt like it to having machines sweep them and oiling the alleys. Made them a lot slipperier and made the pin action that much better. Technology has changed in the sense of the mechanicals. Pin setters was the biggest change. We had individuals set the pins at first when we first started, but as the years went by, the ball returns and the pin setters were the biggest change. It made the game go faster. One big difference in the technology aspect is that some alleys have automatic scoring.
Most places do have some sort of electronic scoring. Some of the older places, more retro places, still use just pencil and paper. We here have semi-automatic scoring. Other places have fully automatic scoring.
Just between me and you, I've never trusted them. I have a tendency to do it myself. The bowling alleys are still bowling alleys. They're still the same length. The pins are the same size. The atmosphere is about the only thing that was different because it wasn't a public place to bowl. It was a private owners. It was like somebody having some bowling alleys downstairs in the cellar. Now it's a public. There's usually something else going on. There's usually either pinball machines or a restaurant or something else going on in the same building as the bowling alleys.
What's the significance of bowling in your life?
Bowling is my life.
Bowling has been relaxing. It's honed my competitiveness. It's been very social and quite enjoyable. A good way to get together with friends and family and bring out the best in everybody.
If I'm not bowling, I'm usually thinking about bowling. Some people, when they come to practice, they just keep bowling the same way they always bowl. When I come to practice, I'm usually practicing specific things. Where I'm standing, how I'm throwing the ball. What shots am I going to play different ways. You can learn a lot from the coaching techniques that you can find on the internet. But if the question's asked, do you want to go bowl? I said, well, yep, I'm in.